Good evening, everyone, and welcome once again to another edition of this quite so often wrestling show that I like to put on whenever I like to spice things up and put in a little bit of um, spirituality as of late. Today, we're going to be talking in depth a little bit about at least three or four topics, including my favorite thing to talk about, Kevin Owens. For those of you who don't know, Kevin Owens has been a topic of discussion on this channel over many years. March 17th, I think 2017, I first did a video where I was basically in a white shirt, just like this one. And I was trying to, impress the internet because I had my hair slicked back, like, oh my god, I've gotta look good for the people on the internet. Today, I don't really care because there's really nothing. My goal is to expose Kevin Owens for who he truly is, and that is a charlatan. Well, he's given us a little bit more evidence to explain exactly what it is that Kevin Owens that Kevin Owens has to offer. A little bit of fuel for my fire, if you will. While wrestling legends of the modern era of WWE, certain ones tend to come into work even more so often than others. But some legends, let's say Triple H. Triple H still comes to the WWE regardless of this whole coronavirus BS. People like Randy Orton. Randy Orton still comes into work despite this whole coronavirus thing. Seth Rollins, who's been with the company for quite some time now. The Street Profits. Whoever you're seeing on your TV right now in the WWE, AEW as well, the whole situation is kind of a mess, but it's kind of not, because because you do have this situation where people want you to wear masks and avoid physical contact and have so much degree of social interaction, but a little bit less degree of social interaction, where it kind of stems toward the whole, hey, wait a minute, we're not allowed to do that, you're not supposed to say that, or for that matter, don't touch me, stay 6 feet away from me. And that's kind of hard to do that in a entertainment business, especially a professional wrestling business, nonetheless, because this is a contact sport. What I mean to say is that Kevin Owens has refused to show up to WWE's taping events, or for that matter, because he's scared. I'm going to call out his scaredy cat nature, and I'm going to say that he's not scared, he is a coward. Well, never mind, that goes hand in hand. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say it like that. What I meant to say is that he's not scared of the whole, hey, we're not going to make it into work today. He's scared of the whole, oh man, I gotta come into work today. I was hoping to just eat some chips on the couch, man. Kevin Owens in the past has open-heartedly said himself that he has an eating disorder, that he has some sort of, in an interview. I don't know who the interview was with. There's a meme of it online. I'm sure I will find it I'll post it to my Instagram and Twitter. But anyway, in an interview, he said 2 panels. The first panel says, "I don't do drugs," just under him sitting there talking with his mouth open. And then the next one shows him with his eyes closed, like this, just shaking his little head. And then he says, "I get upset and I eat." And then he says, "That's my thing." He's openly admitted to, on 1 or 2 occasions, of having an eating disorder. That's fine. Some people eat because they're bored. Other people eat because, well, I mean, psychology gets to you sometimes. You need that comfort food, the ice cream and the chocolate bar and all kinds of other stuff. It's going to make you feel good. You want to break up with me? Breaking up with me. Stuff in your face, and eventually you'll feel better. But the truth is, you won't. It's not going to solve your problem. It's not going to put an end. And I talked about this in my spirituality video whenever I talked about the fact that you weren't born with a blunt in your mouth. You weren't born, whenever you were born, the doctor didn't give you a pound of weed and say, "Be sure to smoke this every day." Doctors are fucking orders, okay? It's natural. No, it's not. What's natural is what's already inside of you. What's already inside of you, that's what's natural, okay? What's natural is what, in a sense, God created. God created dirt, God created earth, God created water. He created these elements in order to, he created food, he created things that would allow you to sustain life. Weed is not essential to life. It does not require you to smoke it in order for you to live. As much of a tangent that this is right now, I'm going to get back to my original point that Kevin Owens, well, overeating is not natural. That is something that you just get upset, you eat, you put on a few pounds. Awesome. That's great. I'm not trying to shame fat people here. Seriously, I'm not, because to put on a lot of weight and then work it out, a little bit, get a little bit of a workout going, and then after that you turn it into something positive like some muscle. But see, Mr. Owens, he doesn't like to do that, despite the fact that he's in a wrestling business, despite the fact that he's in a wrestling company. He's in a company that scrutinizes him, especially me, who is nothing more than just a wrestling blogger. And I'm sure that my opinion doesn't matter to anybody on this fucking platform, but nonetheless, it's going to be said so that later I can say, "I told you so. I told you about Kevin Owens then. Ha 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 ha." And then I get on my high horse and basically scream to the world that I was right. That's what this is about. Kevin Owens, I've talked about him in the past, and quite frankly, I don't want to spend another 12 minutes ranting about him. But I'm just going to go ahead and finish this discussion up, and then after that I'll get on to the other things that I had planned to talk about, because I didn't plan on going this long about Cancer Owens. But I think you see my point. It's not natural for stuff like this to go on per periods of time, and Owens is exactly what he has always been, and that is not a workforce. That is not someone to put back a name behind, especially in a company as big as the WWE. That is not something you do not want. An entertainer is what I'll call him, refer to him as, even though he doesn't deserve that title. An entertainer to be somewhat of a nuisance. And that's exactly what he is. He's not been caught on drug problems. Good for him. That's great that he doesn't do drugs, but I'm sure all of my viewers don't do drugs either. You know something? That makes you better than him. Um, on top of that, I'm sure all of my viewers know the difference between a couch. The Sorry, I'm pointing at my couch right now, and a gym. And the fact is that Kevin Owens thinks that he goes to the gym whenever he goes to McDonald's and he says hi to the cashier. His name is Jim. That doesn't count, Owens. Nonetheless, I want to talk about some other topics other than just poking fun at Mr. Owens, which I'm sure I could do all day. I got endurance. The second thing that I wanted to touch about was Chris Jericho is having a feud with Orange Cassidy. I'm going to be very brief about this. I am going to eat that up because the GOAT, greatest of all time, we'll talk about Randy Orton in just a second. The GOAT, Chris Jericho, is basically putting over this young man, Orange Cassidy, who is, in my last video I talked about a little bit, the most relaxed person in a wrestling ring that I've seen in a long time. Orange Cassidy has the makings to be a star. Orange Cassidy has the makings to be not only a star, but a main event star. I'm talking red carpets, the exact opposite of Kevin Owens, let's put it that way. Because Orange Cassidy is a character all his own. He doesn't even have to say anything. The man has barely cut any promos, and it's just his relaxed attitude, the way that he portrays this guy who's almost like the Daredevil of AEW. You ever watch a movie, The Daredevil, where I think he's blind? The guy just jumps off of buildings and shit. I think it came out in like 2003. I don't know, but he's basically a superhero that has like overstimulation or simulation or however it's portrayed. He can't see anything, but he somehow heightens all of his other senses. And this man is a character that no other character can be played because he doesn't talk. The silent treatment is the best treatment. Jericho could go on a rant about paragraph of just, I am going to, make Orange Cassidy tell the world what he's going to do to Orange Cassidy, and then Cassidy just ducks and smiles and suicide dive. Cassidy is a star, and I'm so glad that Chris Jericho is working with this man, because this is going to be a feud. One man will tell a story, another man will try to stop that story from being told without saying a single word. It's just gonna be so good. Randy Orton recently came out and basically said that he had what was known as the best wrestling match of all time. The reason that I'm putting that in quotes is because that is really, really debatable. You cannot come out and say that you've had the best wrestling match of all time. There was nothing in this certain match that really made it any sort of high top tier match. It wasn't like the first ever 3 Stages of Hell. It wasn't like the first ever reverse tag team match. You would need to innovate something in order for it to be a memorable match. For that matter, if you was going to go on record and say that it was the best match of all time, then you would have to have a pretty big set of balls in order to say something like that, because it's something that just doesn't add up. Whenever you think about the greatest wrestling matches of all time, you put Randy Orton kind of low. Orton is a third generation superstar. Bob the Bullet Orton, I think. Bob Orton, of course, Jr., Bob Sr., Bob Jr., and Randy. Just like The Rock, Rocky Chief, High Chief Maivia, Rocky Johnson, and then The Rock. Um, but Orton is the second ever, if I'm right, third generation superstar. For him to come out and say something along the lines of, he is the greatest wrestler of all time, putting himself above his father, above Roddy Piper, who I consider to be one of the greatest of all time, and I'm sure a lot of people would agree with me in that respect. But it's because of what I did to Piper that really puts that on me. Because I feel like I killed Piper, and that's a story for another day. I wasn't physically there when the man died, don't get me wrong. He died of a heart attack at like 68. But I said something one day that so happened to have my wish come true, and now I feel bad about it. I said that I wished Roddy Piper did. But nonetheless, Piper, who I consider to be one of the greatest of all time, I don't think Orton really can stack up to some of the people that popular opinion says they're the greatest of all time. Orton's probably a better example of the greatest of all time than Kevin Owens will ever be, don't get me wrong, because Orton actually puts in some work, and Owens, on the other hand, is rated M for mediocre at best. And you can tell me that that's my opinion, you can tell me that my opinion is trash, and you can tell me all you want that my opinion doesn't matter, but I have substantial proof, substantial evidence to prove that my opinion is just your opinion about my opinion, because I have facts to back up everything that I say about Mr. Kevin Owens. Nonetheless, we're going to move on to the next subject. Randy Orton claims to be the greatest of all time. I can poke holes in that story all day long, because he's nowhere near as he was practically handed this on a silver platter because his grandfather, because his father was in this business. He did nothing to really earn the title of greatest of all time, and he's done nothing really to up the stature, if you know what I'm saying, just the evolution of someone who claims to be the greatest of all time. Roman Reigns has also decided to take his stuff and go home with it, as did Kevin Owens. And to his point, Owens has been there and Reigns hasn't, because of the whole COVID-19 scare. Understand that to the WWE, Roman Reigns is a huge commodity. And yes, much like a lot of the WWE stars, Roman Reigns also had his family to back him into a lot of what's happening right now. Roman Reigns is thought to be a superstar in the WWE's eyes. Kevin Owens, however, isn't really that much of a superstar, especially in the WWE's eyes, let alone in anyone else's eyes. I honestly can't wait for Cassidy versus Jericho, though, at AEW's next pay-per-view. To see these two square off against each other is going to be a memorable match. This video is becoming increasingly long, and I would like to thank everyone for tuning in, and stay tuned for more. Stay tuned for more content to be posted on a weekly basis. Hopefully I can get a video out every 2 to 3, 4 to 5 days. Thank you so much for tuning in. I've been Workout Robert. Not sure why I'm still plugging that. You can follow me on Instagram at MochaCPR, Mocha_CPR, excuse me. You can follow me on Twitter at P1_Bay. That's P1, not like spelling one, but like, not like ONE, but like one on the keyboard. Never mind. Underscore BAY is my Twitter account. Obviously, you've already found my YouTube, and if you want my Discord, just contact me somewhere between Twitter and Instagram, because I'm not posting my Discord here. Thank you so much for tuning in, and stay tuned for more wrestling content.